Hi you guys, welcome back to my channel. It's the girl Ladonna, Ladonna, and I am back with another video. So, a couple days ago I went on my Instagram. I was like crime stories or horror stories, and a lot of you guys were like crime stories, and I was so happy because I am very much into crime stories. And so I wanted to incorporate that into my channel, and I decided why not just like once a week, like have a series where once a week I tell you guys a real life true crime story while doing something. So maybe doing my makeup, taking off my makeup, maybe eating, maybe drinking, maybe having some friends a part of it to tell the story with me. Doing different things just to make it not so boring. And I thought, hey, that's a good idea because I really love crime stories. And if you guys really like crime stories as much as I do, and you really like the concept of this, and you think this is something that you would come back once a week to watch, let me know in the comments below. Leave a comment, even maybe just give me a little thumbs up to let me know that this is something that you like, this is a content that you like, and you would come back and watch it. If you're new here, make sure that you subscribe, make sure that you like this video. Again, if you really enjoy it, make sure that you like it, leave a comment, turn on your post notification bell so you can know every time I drop a new video and that you can watch it. And remember to share this because it means the world to me. And if I don't say it often enough, I really appreciate you guys for taking the time out of your day to watch my video. Now, let's get right. Also, I am not just going to be doing any crime story. I'm going to be doing like fatal attraction crime story or like for my partner crime story. Nothing serial killer-esque. Very much like, fatal attraction or for my partner. So in this video, I'm going to be doing my makeup because I want to film another video after this. And I am going to be doing a for my partner crime story. So let's get right into it. All right. So this story is about a young lady. Her name is Ashley Jones. Ashley lived in Birmingham, Alabama, and she lived with her family. So her family consisted of her mom, her dad, and her sister. Now, Ashley, the neighborhood that they kind of grew up in was not the greatest of neighborhood. There was like a lot of like crimes happening, a lot of drug use happening, a lot of like it's like a low income family type of, like the projects type of neighborhood that she lived in. So it wasn't a great neighborhood. And then on top of that, Ashley was really going through a lot inside of her home. Like her dad was extremely abusive to her mom. He was mentally abusive, physically abusive, emotionally abusive. He was just one of those like waste youth, like pretty much. Like he was just a waste youth. I'm gonna put on some moisturizer because my lip is dry. So inside of her household wasn't the greatest either. Now, when Ashley's dad couldn't really take his frustration out on the mom, he would take his frustration out on Ashley and Ashley's sister. And so he would, physically abuse them, mentally abuse them, emotionally abuse them, all that stuff. It was so bad that at one point he actually held them at gunpoint. Like he held Ashley's mom, Ashley's sister, like he held them all at gunpoint, like his own family. He held them at gunpoint. And when they tried to escape, he shot up the car. Like the man shot up the car that his family was in. Like, sir, what? Anyway, so the abuse continued, and then Ashley's mom was just like, I can't do this anymore. I am over this, whatever. And so she broke up with him. I can't recall whether or not they got a divorce or what, but they separated. And then she remarried. Now, the guy she remarried to wasn't any better than Ashley's dad. Like he was no better than Ashley's dad. He came in with the same type of behavior, very abusive to the mom and to Ashley and all of that. And it was not a better environment for her. Like it didn't get better. It literally like either got worse or remained the same. So this started to take a toll on Ashley, and Ashley was like preteen. I don't think she was like the full teen. Yeah, she was like preteen. So they started to take a toll on her. And so she started like developing like trust issues. She started talking and laughing to herself. She became very paranoid, you know, like this all like excuse me, like her outside life and her inside life was just too much for her. And so she became very outcast. Like she wasn't able to maintain or even make friends. Like she was very like, you know, like she was in the ninth grade, I think, at this point, and she still wasn't able to like develop any type of like friendships. And so this started to take a toll on her, and she was like, you know, like I just can't deal with this anymore. I want the pain to stop. Like this is not the life that I want for myself. And so she tried to commit suicide. Her first attempt was she took, I think, a bottle of prescription pills. And when that didn't work, she cut her wrist. And when she cut her wrist, this caught the attention of like her school, like people, like her teachers and stuff. And she ended up going and talking to like a psych counselor, where she was diagnosed with chronic depression. So she was diagnosed with chronic depression. At this point, Ashley was like 13. So they didn't want to necessarily put her on medication. So what they decided to do was to remove her from the environment that she was living in. Because with mental health illnesses, like sometimes it's just the environment that you live in that really makes it that severe. But if you get a change of environment, you know, it might help. So they decided, this was a decision of the psych counselors, to have Ashley moved from her parents' house and moved in with her grandparents. Her grandparents live in the same neighborhood, not the same neighborhood, but like Birmingham. And so they decided that they're gonna send Ashley and her sister to live with their grandparents in Birmingham, Alabama. And so Ashley and her sister, you know, they packed their stuff and they're like, all right, let's boogie woogie. And so they went over to their grandparents' home. Now, according to people who knew the grandparents, like the grandfather and the grandmother, they were like, the grandfather, he was like a churchgoer. So he was like a Christian man. He was a very, very nice and friendly person. This is like what people that knew him said. And then the grandmother was also really nice. Now in the household, it was the grandmother, their aunt, so Ashley and her sister's aunt, and the grandfather. So it was the three of them that lived together. And then when Ashley and her sister moved in, collectively it became five of them that lived under that same house, under that same roof. So Ashley moved in, and you know, she's trying to abide by the house rules of the grandparents and, you know, trying to get her life on track. However, there was this gentleman that lived not too far from Ashley, like right around the corner. This gentleman, and his name is Jeremy Hart. So Jeremy lived right around the corner from Ashley's house, and they didn't, at this point, they didn't really know each other or anything. They just like, I guess maybe just saw each other here or there. Until one night, Ashley went to this party, like this after hours party, where she met Jeremy. And Jeremy was, you know, everybody knew Jeremy, okay? Like everybody knew this guy. I'm gonna drink some of this because my throat is a little bit dry. Anyway, so everyone kind of knew Jeremy. Like he was like this thuggish guy. He was like very gangster, very hood. Like everyone in the neighborhood kind of knew him. And so they saw each other, you know, that night at the party. They got talking, you know, trying to get to know each other. And Jeremy was really into Ashley. Like he thought Ashley was extremely beautiful. You know, he was into the way that she looked and all that stuff. Like she caught his eyes, and vice versa. Like she saw him and she was very much into him, you know, all that good stuff. And then she thought like Jeremy, like he looked hood, like he acted gangster and stuff. But apparently he said that he's never been, you know, involved with the police or anything. Little did she know though, the only reason why he was never involved with the police or anything is not because he was a good guy, quote unquote. It's because he was very intimidating. So if he did something in the community, he would intimidate the people in his community, and they wouldn't go to the police because this kid, keep in mind, he was like 15. This kid would intimidate them, and they would just end up like, you know, not even bothering going to the police because they're like, I don't want to cause any trouble with this kid. He's a bad guy type of thing. So they just never like take this further than neighborhood violence, you know? So after getting to know each other that night, weeks went on, they continued talking, they continued developing like a relationship. Jeremy confessed his love for Ashley. Ashley confessed her love for Jeremy. And they had this whole thing going on. Now, Jeremy was way more like sexually experienced than Ashley. He was so sexually experienced. He was 15 years old and had a kid. So this dude has been getting it on from like a while now. And Ashley was still a virgin. And he was also like extremely street smart. Like he was way more street smart than Ashley. So as the weeks went on, yeah, they got to know each other. They confessed their love for each other. Ashley lost her virginity to him, you know, all that stuff. So again, she moved to live with her grandparents because she needed that change of environment. However, since she met this guy, things just kind of like declined. And so she started sneaking out the house to go visit Jeremy. She would sneak him in the house. They would skip school together and, you know, just like being reckless teenager. Like, I mean, we've all skipped school here or there, but this was a little bit extreme, you know, a little bit extreme. So the grandparents now caught on to what's really happening, and they were like, no, 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 no. Not under my roof. You're not going to be having this thug, this gangster, this hood boy. Like, you're not going to be hanging out with him and bringing him in our household. That is not happening. And they kind of like forbid her from seeing Jeremy. And as a teenager, I don't know if some of you experienced this, but when your parents tell you can't see the boy that you really like, baby, you are going to disobey. So she's like, what? How dare you guys tell me I can't see him? Like, I love him, da 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 da. And she was not having this. So she went to Jeremy and she told Jeremy what was happening. She's like, you know, like my grandparents say that we can't see each other no more. You know, that they don't think you're good for me and all of that. And Jeremy was like, we need to fix this problem right now. Like, we gotta get them out the picture so you and I can live happily ever after. And Ashley was like, yes, sir. Whatever you say, baby. Whatever you want to do, let's do. So they came up with this plan. Ashley thought about the plan and she's like, all right, I'm gonna go and I'm gonna steal my grandpa's guns. I'm gonna steal my grandpa's guns so that we can kill them. And then after we kill them, we have to do something with their body. So Ashley decided that she's gonna make like this little concussion, this little mixture of like flammable stuff. So she makes like lighter fluid, nail polish remover, other things like that, so that when they're done killing them, she can burn their bodies. Okay, this is what she's planning to do to her own family. For a boy that she just met, a boy who already have a child, a boy who is up to no good. Anyway, so she decided that that's what they're gonna do. So, you know, plan was in motion. She got the guns, she made the mixture, everything is ready to go. Late Sunday evening, Ashley and her sister and her grandma and her grandpa and her aunt, they are in the den of their home watching TV. You know what people do on a Sunday. It was a late Sunday evening. They're catching up, relaxing, watching a nice little movie together as a family. You know, ain't nothing wrong with that. So they're there watching TV, you know, and then around 11 o'clock, around 11 p.m., Ashley's aunt and Ashley's grandma and her sister decided that, you know, enough is enough. We're just gonna go to bed. We had enough TV for one day. We're gonna go to bed. So they went upstairs to their bed to get comfy, call it a night. But Ashley and her grandfather, they remained in the den finishing up the movie. And then as they're finishing up the movie though, Ashley's grandfather, he actually started like, dozing off a little bit. It was like after 11, so he was dozing off. And as Ashley looked over and she saw him kind of like zoning out, dozing off, she figured this is the opportunity for us to commence with our plan. So she went ahead and she called her blue thing and she's like, "Hey baby, hi, how you doing? So this is the perfect opportunity for us to kill these people who forbid me from seeing you. Come over right now." So he's like, "Say less, I'm on my way." He got over there, she let him in the house, and she led him straight to the den. Once he got in the den, there was Grandpa. Poor Grandpa, trying to fall asleep in the den. Jeremy went ahead, took his gun, pointed at the temple of Grandpa's head, and shot Grandpa. Grandpa fell to the floor, but he didn't die immediately. So he got up, he staggered his way into the kitchen where he collapsed. And they were like, "Man, I'm not waiting to see if this man is dead or not. We got 3 more people we gotta take care of." So they went upstairs to Aunt Millie's room. Aunt Millie was fully asleep, and they decided that they were gonna shoot Aunt Millie in her sleep. So Jeremy took his gun, shot Aunt Millie 3 times in her sleep. Then Miss Ashley realized, oh, she's not dead yet. She's still alive. She went ahead and picked up the portable heater that they had and beat Aunt Millie with that portable heater until she died. This little ungrateful nastiness. Could you imagine? Anyway, so she beat Aunt Millie till Aunt Millie died. Then Grandma heard the commotion, and Grandma's like, being a grandma, let me go make my way into the trouble to see what's happening. So Grandma went around, and Grandma saw what was happening, and she realized that she knew. So Jeremy actually had his face covered up, like with this like red bandana, but it wasn't completely covered up. So so Grandma realized who it was, and then once Grandma realized who it was, he had 1 bullet left. He had 1 bullet left in his gun, and he shot Grandma with it. So he shot Grandma in her shoulder with the 1 bullet and left her there to die. So then they made their way back down into the den area, and they saw Grandpa was still moving about, like Grandpa wasn't dead. So they, hold on. This part is gonna be a little bit graphic. These 2 nastiness of a picnic, these 2 children asked Grandpa, "Oh, where's the money? Where is your money?" And Grandpa's like, "It's under the mattress." They went under the mattress, they got their $300. It was only $300. They realized, okay, well, I already got the money. I don't need Grandpa for anything else. Let's just kill him. Jeremy went ahead, you guys, took the knife and stabbed Grandpa in the throat twice. And if that wasn't good enough, he took that knife and he sliced Grandpa's throat open. How do you, sometimes I wish I have the opportunity to like speak to like a murderer to say like, what goes through your mind when you're doing these things, but that's beside the point, Lona. So he did this to Grandpa. Grandpa obviously died, and then Miss Ashley decided to take her little flammable mixture that she had and pour it on Grandpa. So she poured it on Grandpa, and then she lit Grandpa on fire. Now the fire wasn't like big enough or strong enough to do anything, so it really didn't do anything to Grandpa much at that point. But they were good enough. They were good with that. They were like, okay, he's gonna die. The fire's gonna eventually kill him. He's gonna suffocate to death. As they're standing over Grandpa's body, though, Grandma, the one who they shot upstairs in the shoulder, Grandma came downstairs and she saw her poor husband, just laying there, like dying. And then she came over, rushed to her husband, and when she rushed to her husband, Miss Ashley stabbed her up, and she died right next to her husband on the floor. Then they lit them on fire again. They lit the both of them on fire this time. Now, as they're standing over Grandpa's body, the little sister, she came downstairs. I don't know if they forgot about her when they were upstairs, or if they didn't plan on killing her initially. Actually, they did plan on killing her. So I don't know why they didn't do anything to her before. But anyway, so she came downstairs and she saw her grandma and her grandpa on the floor. And then she saw Miss Ashley and her boo thing standing over grandma and grandpa. And they realized that she saw them. So she started heading for the door. She started running for the door. But she's a 10-year-old kid, you know, she didn't make it too far. Jeremy got her. And Jeremy he took his gun, he held it, he took out another gun. Because remember, he used his last bullet on grandma. So he took out another gun that he had, like a smaller gun, and he put it to her head. And he was about to shoot her. And then Miss Ashley, Miss Big, Bad and Brave Ashley came in and she's like, nah, boo, I'll take care of this. She's my sister. I'll take care of this. And she took a knife and she stabbed her own 10-year-old sister 10 times. No, what am I talking about 10 times? 14 times. She stabbed her own sister 14 times, you guys. 14 times she stabbed her own sister. And then the kid, she's so smart. Like, she didn't die from the 14 stab wounds. But she's like, okay, you know what? If they think I'm dead, they'll leave me alone. So she faked her own death. She dropped on the floor and she faked her own death. So now Ashley and Jeremy are like, all right, bada bing, bada boom, bada boom. We killed the whole family. Gotta get rid of the evidence. So they went, they got some towels, they got some like some old t-shirts, they got like a bunch of stuff that they're gonna use to, you know, get this fire going. And Ashley poured her little mixture on the clothes and then they lit it on fire, hoping that, you know, the fire would get really big and destroy the house, destroy the evidence, burn up the bodies. Like, this is what they're hoping for. And then once they're done doing this, they left. They went outside. This is hard to do, by the way. Doing my mascara while talking is extremely hard to do. But they left, they went outside, they got Grandma's Cadillac, they hopped into Grandma's Cadillac, and they drove off into the night. So they ended up driving to a hotel that one of their friends ended up having to like pay for and put it under their name, because Ashley and Jeremy, they were on the age. Like I said, they were like 14, 15. They were on the age. So they couldn't get a hotel in their names, so their friend had to get the hotel for them. Now, while they're there at the hotel, whatever, they got a whole party. They celebrated. They were happy with their accomplishments. They turned up that night. While they're at the hotel though, little miss, the sister, wasn't dead. So she got up and she realized, oh, Grandma's not dead either. So she helped Grandma up and they went outside. She left Grandma outside. Keep in mind that the fire is still going. She left Grandma outside and she went looking for help. So she started walking through the neighborhood looking for help. And then a car drove by. A car saw her, gave her a ride to the convenience store. Like, she had 14 stab wounds. Like, she was bleeding. The car gave her a ride to the convenience store where they called 911. And 911 came to her rescue. And then they went to the house. They realized what was really happening, that it was like a horrendous crime scene there. Like, how many people were dead? 3 people or 2 people were dead? Like, it was just horrible, horrible. And so they realized the extent of these crimes. They took the grandma to the hospital. The grandma was actually, 35% of Grandma's body was burnt up. Grandma ended up being in a coma for a while. And all this is happening while Miss Ashley and her boo thing is at a hotel turning the hell up. So the following day, the police went to the hospital to speak with the sister, because the sister was conscious. She was being treated for her stab wound. She had like a collapsed lung. So she was being treated, but she was able to tell the police what happened or who did it. So she told him it was my sister Ashley, like it was Ashley and her boyfriend. And so the police went out looking for Ashley and her boyfriend, and they found grandma's car outside of this hotel. And then Ashley in her room saw a news, like a breaking news thing come on, and she realized that they weren't all dead. Grandma and her sister were still alive, bitch. So she turned around and was like, I thought I killed that bitch. Like, no, you thought wrong. You lost the whole thought. They weren't dead. They're coming for you. They weren't dead, Miss Ashley. Anyway, so the police went ahead, got to Ashley and Jeremy, arrested Ashley and Jeremy, and took them to the police station. And the police are questioning Ashley and Jeremy, asking them what happened, what took place. And these two teenagers were so proud of their accomplishment. They were extremely proud of their accomplishment. They did not hesitate to say what they did. Like, they were just like, yeah, we killed them. We burned the house down. We set the house on fire. This was all us. They did not hesitate. They were very proud of their accomplishment. So when the detectives now are like leaving Ashley's room, like after she was questioned, Ashley turned around to the detectives and she's like, can you tell Jeremy that I love him? What? But you know what? I can't even blame Ashley because she had like a tough childhood, like a tough upbringing. But geez, like I would think like after like, your sister and your grandma didn't die, like you would have some type of remorse. But I don't know, man. I don't know. Anyway, so they both actually got sentenced to 2 counts of capital murder for grandpa and their aunt and Ashley's aunt, and then 2 counts of attempted murder for Ashley's grandma and Ashley's sister. And they both ended up with the same exact sentence. So they both got the same sentencing. Now, this is like a very sad story because she was just looking for love and she was just looking for acceptance, and she was willing to kind of accept however that may look for her, and she found love, quote unquote love, by this guy who didn't really have like good intentions necessarily. And I guess they were like, I don't even know, like she just needed like an escape. She just needed somebody to show her that they care for her, and he was that. Like he was that for her, and she accepted that, and she was willing to kind of literally kill her entire family just to be with this guy. And what's even sadder is that they didn't even end up being together, because now they're both in jail for the rest of their lives. It's like, was it worth it? Like, was it really, really worth it? I don't know. So apparently, like at the court hearing and stuff, Ashley was actually remorseful. She felt really bad about, how things went down. And they didn't really give a follow-up to say whether or not like Ashley continued talking to Jeremy or what. There was really no follow-up to that, so we actually don't know. Like I don't really know if they actually ended up like continue talking, but I would hope not. I would really hope that she kind of just forget about this dude and try to get better, change her life while she's in prison, because she would never get to see outside again. Like she's in there for life, like life. So she probably would never. And it's so sad. She wasn't even like a full teenager yet. Like she just wasted her life. It's very, very sad, and it's quite heartbreaking. But I hope she takes this as a life lesson, as a learning lesson, and honestly, like try to do better for herself in there. Maybe get some education. Maybe like do something better for herself while she's in prison. But that is the story of Ashley Jones. Let me know if you guys like this, if you like this video, if you think this would be something that you would want to watch once a week. Yeah, this was really fun to film. It's actually harder to do your makeup while talking. Like, I thought this was gonna be an easy peasy thing, but it's actually pretty hard. But yeah, make sure that you guys comment. Let me know if you like this. Make sure that you like, make sure that you subscribe, make sure that you share, make sure that you turn on your post notification and all that good stuff. And yeah, my makeup is done. As you guys can see, I don't do too much for my makeup, but if you guys actually want like a little makeup, like, you know, tutorial, not a tutorial, but like, let me just tell you guys what I do. I can do that for you guys as well. You might see that I don't wear foundation. During this whole video, I did not put on any foundation. My makeup skills is very, what's the word? It's not that great, but it works for me. It does what I need it to do. So that's it. Anyway, thank you guys so much for taking the time out of your day to watch my video. I truly appreciate it. And until next time, bye guys. Okay? Okay.